The story of the huge hungry demon Bakasura. Let's open the Mahabharata and uncover the thrilling story of the gigantic, hungry demon Bakasura, a monster so terrifying that an entire village lived in fear of his next meal. But little did the demon know, his final feast was about to become his greatest mistake. Part 1. Pandavas in Ekachakrapur. Long ago, during the Dwapar Yuga, the 5 Pandavas and their mother Kunti narrowly escaped the blazing house of Lak at Lakshagruha. Believed to be dead by their enemies, they secretly traveled through forests until they reached the peaceful village of Ekachakrapura. To avoid being recognized, they disguised themselves as humble Brahmins and found shelter in the modest home of a kind but poor Brahmin family. For a short while, everything seemed peaceful. But behind the quiet streets of the village lurked a terrifying secret. Part 2. The Demon Bakasura. Deep inside the dark forest lived a gigantic demon named Bakasura. His enormous strength and endless hunger had turned the lives of the villagers into a nightmare. No one dared challenge him. Instead, the frightened villagers had made a dreadful agreement. Every single week, one family had to send a huge cart overflowing with food, pulled by 2 bullocks, along with the unfortunate cart driver. Bakasura would devour everything. The food, the bullocks, and finally, the helpless person who brought them. Week after week, the horrifying sacrifice continued. Then one fateful day, it became the turn of the very Brahmin family that had given shelter to the Pandavas. Inside their tiny home, cries filled the air. Each member of the family begged to sacrifice themselves so the others could live. Watching their heartbreaking sorrow, Kunti quietly stepped forward. "My son Bhima will go," she said with complete confidence. The frightened family could hardly believe what they had just heard. Part 3. Bhima faces Bakasur. The next morning, Bhima cheerfully pulled the enormous cart toward Bakasura's cave. But instead of offering the feast to the demon, he calmly sat down and began eating every delicious dish himself. Plate after plate disappeared as Bhima enjoyed the meal without the slightest concern. From deep inside the cave, Bakasura smelled the food. Then he saw Bhima. His eyes burned with rage. With a thunderous roar that echoed through the forest, the furious demon charged toward him. The earth trembled beneath his feet. Trees shook. Birds scattered into the sky. But Bhima didn't move. He simply stood up, smiling confidently. An earth-shaking battle began. Bakasura ripped giant trees from the ground and hurled massive boulders with terrifying force. Bhima blocked every attack as though they weighed nothing. Soon the 2 mighty warriors locked together in a colossal wrestling match, crashing through the forest like 2 raging elephants. The battle seemed endless. Then, in one final burst of incredible strength, Bhima lifted the exhausted demon high into the air, slammed him to the ground, and defeated Bakasura forever. That very night, Bhima dragged the enormous body of the demon to the entrance of Ekachakrapura. When the villagers awoke the next morning, they would discover something almost impossible to believe. Part 4. Happy Villages. As the first rays of sunlight reached the village gates, people slowly gathered outside. They froze in amazement. There lay Bakasura, the terrifying demon who had haunted them for years, motionless. For a moment, no one spoke. Then joy exploded across the village. Drums echoed through the streets. Flowers filled the air. Children laughed. Families embraced one another. For the first time in many years, Ekachakrapura was finally free. The grateful villagers rushed to thank the Brahmin family that had sheltered the mysterious heroes. But when they reached the house, it was empty. Kunti and the 5 Pandavas had quietly departed before sunrise. They knew that if they stayed any longer, their true identities would soon be discovered.
Final part.
As the golden sun rose over the forest, a cool breeze welcomed the travelers onto the next chapter of their remarkable journey. Ahead of them stood the magnificent kingdom of Panchala. There, destiny was waiting. A grand archery contest, a princess named Draupadi, and adventures that would shape the future of the Mahabharata forever. The end. If you like the story and the narration, do like, comment, and subscribe.